the same. Okay. Your attitude, you must make sure that everyone has their motion. Everyone, when it comes to check it and ready, and you need to make sure that everyone has signed. Yes, you must make sure that people have their motions, they've got their statement. You check everyone if they are ready to speak. Yeah. I think those are some of the responsibilities that I tend to. Now you make it now. Where is Nyanga? Oh. I don't understand because I'm given a statement and a motion from the parent. The motion from or the statement from the national relation. Yeah, that they also. No, I'm not good for. They just have to make it. For no, I think at least because we are movie. No, I thought it is. Oh, so it means you're gonna give people how do I? No, you're right. No problem. Let me see. Let me see. You're proper. What did you say? They must not abuse us people when we are doing this. Because we're grounded. They will need us. Especially those who have ambitions. They will come to our province. Just to get there. Right? Ay, muy. Ay, muy, muy. Correct.
Hey,
Hello, hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
King. Eh? Yeah, hey, not time. Yeah. Ah, gimana? If they are no longer arranging, so you, eh? Yeah, you must come. Hey, gimana?
Sharp. Facia. Facia. I'm talking. How many? I'm emphasizing. So
Tsutsu.
Platform, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Platform, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Yo.
Yeah, that's fine. You can actually email Dr. Kirsten.
Okay.
Yeah, he will filter it down to me and then
Recording in progress.
You know, on Sunday at the rally. Yeah. Somebody tried to say cheap weight. He says cheap wine. Hey, Ginduna, hey. Inkosi. Chief wine. That's hectic. Hey, good guy. Stop. Yeah, no. Yeah, we said. I'll be there. We said. Hey, Josie. Yeah. I'm okay. Wait.
The House Chairperson.
There will now be an opportunity for silent prayer and meditation. Please be seated. Honorable members, the first item on the order paper is member statements. Does any member of the ANC wish to make a statement?
Thank you, House Chair. The African National Congress mourns the passing of Nicholas Wolpe, founder and CEO of the Lily Sleeve Trust. Wolpe was the son of Harold Wolpe and Anne-Marie Wolpe, whose Rivonia farm, Lily Sleeve, provided a haven for ANC activists, including President Nelson Mandela during the 1960s. As a movement and leader of society, we lower our revolutionary banners to honor the finest amongst us. As we bid farewell, we reaffirm our commitment to the foundational values of fighting for a united, non-racial, non-sexist, and democratic society. Lily's Leaf Farm, a place of profound significance in our struggle, served as a sanctuary and operational base for the underground movement in the 1960s. It was there that leaders such as Mandela, Walter Sisulu, and Govan Mbeki found refuge. The farm's acquisition by Harold Wolpe and Arthur Goldrich transformed it into the nerve center of our liberation struggle. After the end of apartheid, Nicholas Wolpe returned to South Africa and became deeply interested in Lily's Leaf history. He dedicated over 20 years to transforming the site into an interactive museum and national heritage site, ensuring that the memory of our struggle is preserved for further generations. The ANC pays tribute to the Wolpe's family, enduring legacy in the fight for South Africa's freedom. I thank you, House Chair.
Thank you. The DI.
Thank you very much, House Chair. The entire country was relieved as the Zondo Commission came to a close, and our expectations were high that a raft of arrests would imminently be made. However, while the DA has always believed that the SAPS, Hawks, and the commercial crime units were actually investigating these crimes, we were appalled to learn that access to this vital information cost the state millions in resources, and time in obtaining is now suddenly no longer available. Is it really due to the lack of system maintenance, as reported by NPA spokesperson Mthunzi Maga, or is it a case of deliberate system corruption for self-preservation? The question then remains, House Chair, if the evidence is not made available to the SAPS as a matter of urgency for investigation and corruption for these crimes, how will justice ever be served, and how will the SAPS fulfill their obligation towards the people of South Africa? As the saying goes, Chair, justice delayed is justice denied. And in this case, the beneficiaries of state capture are the biggest winners and the citizens of South Africa, the biggest losers. I thank you.
MK.
Somlomo ohloniphekayo phakama egameni lomkhonto wesizwe nabantu bonke baseningizimu Afrika. Ngidlulisa ukuzwelana okukhulu naleyo mndeni elahlekelwe amalunga ayo ebheke enkandla emcimbini ngosuku lwabantu besifazane. Labo bantu besifazane abanesibindi babeyohalalisa behalalisela amaqhawe abantu besifazane enza umehluko omkhulu ngomzabalazo ngesikhathi sika 1956. Sengathi imphefumulo yabo ingaphumula ngokuthula. Inhliziyo zethu, imithandazo yethu nengqondo yethu kanye nemndeni yabo siyabathandazela ukuthi baduduzeke. Ngesikhathi thina siqhubekela phambili sithatha kubo amandla nesibindi omzabalazo womuntu wohlango lunsundu. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you. The ANC.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. In line with the National Development Plan, the ANC is committed to expanding and deepening its trade and investment relations with both developing and developed economies. This was reflected by the President Ramaphosa when he delivered his bilateral opening remarks during his state visit in the official talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Monday, the 2nd September 2024 in Beijing. President Ramaphosa asserted and emphasized the importance of addressing the structure of South African trade. China is South Africa's largest trading partner globally. The bilateral state visit by the president resulted in the South African delegation signing 8 agreements with their counterparts aimed at enhancing economic cooperation and implementation cooperation in the fields of human settlements, agriculture, science and technology, among others. The ANC caucus fully support the president's call on China to invest in South Africa's energy sector. The ANC caucus believes that 2 countries can create sustainable and environmentally free energy solutions that will benefit both countries. I thank you.
Thank you. The EFF.
Ngiyabonga sihlalo. Sihlalo ngo-April 2024 satiswa njenge-EFF ukuthi eWard 2 eMkhondo Municipality longaphansi kweHebsibande District eMpumalanga Province kuneliplazi lelibitwa ukuthi iTaipos le mnikatwalo kunguRowan naPaul. Labalimi lababili bancabela abashayeli bemabhasi ebafunzi ukuthi bangene eplazini bathathe bafunzi babayise esikolweni. Bantwana labangetulu kwemashumi lasitfupha baphocelelekile ukuthi bahambe emakhilomitha lalishumi ngelanga bashiswe lilanga banethwe timvula kuze kuthi baye esikoleni. Ngile lapha sihlalo kuyotibonela ukuthi kwendakalani. Labalimi lababili abathembeli ekutheni bantwana bebalimi bebasebenzi basemaplazini nalaba labahlala emaplazini kumele ukuthi babe nemfundo. Kukhona laba bebakwenda sihlalo kakhulu eWard 9 yangenelela i-EFF kwalunga. I-District and Provincial Departments of Education are not doing anything despite this matter being raised with them several times. Ngiphosa inselela ku-Minister of Education, ngifuna kumchallenge ukuthi I have seen her visiting provinces and I challenge her to go to this farm, Taipos farm, and see for herself and then intervene. We'll be left with no choice but to intervene as we have done in the past. We are intervening because we understand that the National Framework of Rural Education Policy was meant to improve the quality of education and the learning environment for children in rural areas and farm communities.
Honorable Member, unfortunately, your time has now run out.
Scholar transport is one of those vital tools, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. The IFP.
Chairperson, the IFP will not have one. Thank you.
Thank you. The ANC.
Thank you, Chair. The African National Congress welcomes the University of Western Cape decision to confer an honorary doctorate posthumously to Chris Hani at a gala event on Friday, 30 August 2024. Where other revered South Africans, including Justice Albisex and Justice Dikgang Moseneke, were also honored. Lindwe Hani accepted the honorary doctorate awarded to her father, Chris Hani, by the institution. The late Chris Hani was honored for his lifetime contribution to the anti-apartheid struggle and his influence on South Africans' democracy. When he was assassinated on the 10th April 1993, he was the General Secretary of the South African Communist Party and a member of the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress. He was a leader of Umkhonto weSizwe, the ANC military wing. At his funeral, President Mandela called him one of the greatest revolutionary leaders the country has ever seen. The ANC commends the University of the Western Cape for the honor it bestowed on Chris Hani in recognition of his contribution to South Africans' democracy. Thank you.
Thank you. The ACDP.
House Chairperson, according to the 2023-24 South African Police Service crime statistics, there were an alarming 4,300 reported kidnappings between July and September, while 293 children and 881 women were murdered in the last quarter of 2023. Reports that South Africa has the highest kidnapping rate among African countries, with about 9.58 kidnappings out of 100,000 people, are devastating indeed. Throughout the years, we have seen lawlessness increasing in our country and criminals getting away with their crimes. This lack of action from law enforcement agencies indirectly encourages them to continue with their crimes. The ACDP calls on government to introduce new innovative measures to stop these kidnappings, which also lead to extortions. When children go to school in the mornings, parents should not worry whether they will come back because of these kidnappings. Criminals in South Africa must be taught that crime does not pay. The ACDP further calls on government to introduce minimum sentences for crimes such as kidnapping, extortions, and for being part of a construction mafia. Before South Africa becomes a mafia state,
Honourable
government
Member,
has to-
unfortunately, your time has expired.
Thank you.
The DA,
The Auditor General's 22-23 Consolidated General Report on Local Government Audit Outcomes once again emphasized that DA governments have proved that they are managing public funds responsibly. DA governments obtained 19 audits, the highest in the country. The city of Cape Town is the only metro that achieved a clean audit. The city of Tshwane was commended by the AG for its improved audit outcomes, which underscores the stellar work being done by Mayor Siljebrink and his Executive Council. Midwal, the jewel in Gauteng, obtained 10 years of clean audits. What is so significant about clean audits? The AG report indicates that municipalities with clean audits plan for service delivery, effectively deal with complaints, consider community needs when budgeting, meet public participation requirements, invest in key infrastructure projects, and use grant funding effectively, have established controls, have a stable, competent municipal administration, display a culture of good governance, and enforcing accountability. Their political leaders understand their role to deliver on promises. Municipal leaders are held accountable for wrongdoing. They align municipal resources with the key priorities to meet community needs and communicate credibly to communities on their decisions when all cannot be provided or prioritized. In addition, clean audits also indicate that residents' money was spent on ensuring that municipal services were delivered without being hampered by corruption. And this is the trademark of DA governments in municipalities. Thank you.
the ATM,
Thank you, Chair. The ATM applauds the Chief Apostle, Professor Caesar Nongonga, for his 30 years of excellent and visionary leadership of the 12th Apostles Church in Christ. Over the past 3 decades, Chief Apostle Nongonga has played an instrumental role in shaping South Africa through his profound teachings, impactful humanitarian projects to political reforms that continue to uplift our communities. Under his leadership, TACC has spearheaded numerous youth programs that have been pivotal in keeping our young people off the streets, alleviating poverty, and providing hope to the most vulnerable. These initiatives are testament to the Church's commitment to shaping a brighter future for the next generations. It is crucial that this House recognizes the essential role that churches play in fostering moral guidance, community cohesion, and national development. As we celebrate this milestone, we honor Chief Apostle Nongonga for his dedication to the spiritual and material well-being of the people, and we look forward to many more years of his remarkable leadership. As ATM sithi khula ngcishana, kwenkwezana, meva mhlophe, chaba, sichume kasithongoma, mhlanga kamhlongwana, khasibe kahonga. Thank you.
thank you, the ANC,
House Chairperson, the ANC condemns in the strongest possible terms the recent farm murders where farmers allegedly murdered 4 people in separate incidents in Limpopo and Mpumalanga. In Limpopo, Maria Mahato, Lucian Ndlovu, and Ndlovu's husband were shot while allegedly collecting goods dumped on the Vracht farm. Mahato and Lucian Ndlovu died on the scene, and their bodies were reportedly dragged and dumped in a pigsty on the farmer's property. Ndlovu's husband was shot at, but managed to flee and reported the incident. Farm owner Zachariah Johannes Olivier, Adrian Rudolph, the vet, and Zimbabwean national William Mosora were arrested and charged. The ANC further condemns an incident in Mpumalanga where farmers and his security guard allegedly murdered 2 men last month. The bodies were burnt beyond recognition. It is alleged that the deceased were accused of stealing a sheep. 2 burnt bodies, believed to be of Wanda Mahlangu and Tembeni Mnguni, have been found near Middleburg last Thursday. We view these extraordinary actions by the farmers as barbaric and inhumane. We call for the full might of the law to take its course against the perpetrators. We also encourage the citizens not to take the law unto themselves, but to work with the relevant authorities to ensure justice prevails. We extend our unwavering support to the families of the victims during this time. I thank you.
Thank you. The MK.
Honorable Speaker, I rise today on behalf of the Umkhonto Wesizwe Party to address the alarming levels of unemployment in South Africa, especially amongst the youth. Despite repeated promises by the government of national unity, there's been little progress in tackling this crisis. Our young people remain trapped in poverty with few opportunities for jobs or skills development. MK stands firmly for the empowerment of our youth. We call for a complete overhaul of the current economic policies that favor the elite while leaving the masses behind. It is time to put an end to empty promises. We demand immediate investment in sustainable job creation programs, particularly in sectors that can absorb unskilled and semi-unskilled workers. MK also believes that access to land and economic resources must be prioritized to address the historical injustices and uplift marginalized communities. We stand for real, tangible change, not political rhetoric. The youth are the future of our nation, and the MK Party will continue to champion their rights and ensure their voices are heard in the halls of power. I thank you.
Thank you. The EFF.
Mudzulatshidulo, ḓorobo ya Thohoyandou yo tshikafhala lwa u tshikafhala. Vha tshi tou dzhena vha ṱanganedzwa na u lumeliswa nga mashika o sokou lakatedzwaho hoṱhe hoṱhe. Sa ḽihoro ḽa EFF, ro kowela, ro huwelela, ra ita zwoṱhe, fhedzi ri khou amba na nnyi na tshitanda tshi sina nḓevhe. Ne ḓorobo wa ANC na vhulanguli hawe vha dzhena vha tshi bva, fhedzi a vha vhoni tsho khakheaho, mashika o sokou lakatedzwa hoṱhe hoṱhe. Ri khou amba nga ḓorobo ye yavha yo kuna, hu tshi ngade, mahatsi, maḓi a no khou tsa tshivhuya, ri amba zwiḽa zwi no pfi waterfall. Vhashumi vhe vha vhe hone, vhaṅwe vho notha, vhaṅwe vho ri sia, ngeno vhaṅwe vho resigna. Fhedzi a huna uri vha vhuyedzedzwe. Vhano notha na vho no ri sia, a huna muṅwe ano ḓa u vha thivha. It is for this reason, I'll share that the EFF president, Julius Malema, launched Andris Tatana cleanup campaign in February 2023 to restore dignity of our people. We thought you would copy notes. House Chair, it is not only Thohoyandou town that is polluted by littering due to lack of dustbins or failure of municipality to collect the waste. The majority of our villages, towns, cities, including those cities that are at metropolitan areas, are suffering from the same issue of littering and illegal dumping. In Western Cape, Gugulethu, Langa; in Free State, Mangau, Tabanchu, Botshabelo; in the Northern Cape, you go to Kimberley, which is used to be called the sparkling diamond city, have now joined your Nkuruman and many neglected small towns in the Northern Cape. Minister, I'm addressing you. Develop a plan to deal with this matter and stop
Honourable
subjecting
member.
our people to this torture.
Thank you. Your
Any
time has
longer.
expired. The ANC.
Thank you, House Chair. Rowan Williams hopes his Ballon d'Or nomination will inspire other South African footballers. Rowan Williams is a young South African who hope to inspire other football players in the country after he made history as the first African-based goalkeeper to be nominated for the Yashin Trophy, which honors the best goal miner in the world at a prestigious Ballon Awards. The Bafana Bafana captain had quit football following the death of his brother, Marvin, in a car accident. It took an Eastern Cape native, Kwanele Kopo of Utenik, who was the head of Supersport United Academy at that time, to convince the Gqeberha-born gold miner to continue playing football. He listened. And a year later, he graduated to Supersport first team, where he played more than 250 matches before he was signed by Mamelodi Sundowns, taking his game to another level. His showing in Ivory Coast earned him the goalkeeper of the tournament award, an accolade that is accompanied by being named keeper of the tournament. This transformation of sport in South Africa has allowed us to witness the talent of many players like Williams and has made us supporting champions in many fields of sport. We wish Rowan Williams much success and we are ready to celebrate when he wins the Yashin Trophy.
Honorable member, your time has now expired. Thank you. The DA.
Honourable Chair, South Africa is likely to see a great tourism season with visitor numbers likely to exceed all previous years. However, one of the key challenges we continue to face is the safety of tourists, which can have a serious impact on the visitors' experience in the country. Incidents of crime against tourists, both domestic and international, affect the brand image of South Africa as a safe travel destination and has an impact on the economy of the country. To address this and enhance visitor experiences, the Department of Tourism has identified the implementation of the Tourism Monitors Program. According to Minister De Lille, in the previous financial year, over 174.5 million was invested in the training of around 2,300 tourism safety monitors to key tourist attractions. There is significant potential in this much needed program, but in order for us to be successful, it is important that we interrogate the efficiency thereof. The Democratic Alliance proposes that the Department of Tourism works closely with the South African Police Service, our provinces, and the Tourism Business Council of South Africa to establish tourism safety forums, train tourism monitors, and provide long-lasting solutions to the challenge of crime. I thank you.
Thank you. The ANC.
Thank you very much, House Chair. The African National Congress welcomes the recent sentence handed down to a former executive at the Passenger Rail Association of South Africa, PRASA, by the Pretoria Specialized Commercial Crimes Court over fraud. Former head of engineering, Daniel Mtunkulu, has been sentenced to 15 years in prison for falsifying his qualifications and other documents. In early 2022, Mtunkulu was found guilty of 3 counts of fraud for falsifying his qualifications and submitting a fake employment letter to drive his salary higher. Mtunkulu was proven to have misrepresented his qualifications to PRASA after claiming to have a master's degree and a doctorate in engineering management. He also falsified a job offer from a German company to increase his salary. Mtunkulu was involved in massive capital projects within PRASA, and his lack of his qualifications placed all the projects at a considerable risk. We also remember the press conference where he was lauded by the recently appointed MK Party MP, Honorable Lucky Montana, for his role in modernizing our rail infrastructure, despite the fact that more than 2 billion rands were spent on trains that were unsuitable for our country's rail network. The ANC commends the Hawks for being instrumental in ensuring that Mtunkulu was ultimately convicted. I thank you.
Thank you. Rise Mzansi.
As Rise Mzansi, similar to all of us as members in this house, we believe that all of us in this house support the universal health coverage. Although we disagree on the mechanics of its rollout so that all South Africans can have access to quality health care, as is outlined in our constitution. Therefore, as Rise Mzansi, we are deeply concerned about the state of our country's healthcare system and hospitals and clinics after yet another video of a patient being subjected to poor service at Helen Joseph Hospital in Johannesburg. The treatment of the patient is contrary to the principles of Batupili, especially that of courtesy. The sad reality is that this latest video on social media is the experience of far too many of our fellow South Africans who use the public healthcare system. As members of this house that represents the people of South Africa, we should all be alarmed and call on the Department of Health that this should not continue to happen, that the clinics, the hospitals get renovated and the conduct of the health professionals are to the standards that South Africans deserve. So we want the minister to focus on the conduct of the health professionals and also improve the quality of the infrastructure in public hospitals. Thanks very much.
Honorable members, that concludes members' statements. Are there any ministerial responses? The Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I would like to respond to the member who raised the issue about the illegal dumping and the lack of waste management as being a problem. I would agree with that. In fact, if we look across a number of our towns, that is in fact a problem. The primary responsibility does lie with the local municipalities. However, we have a number of programs through the Extended Public Works Program that does in fact provide support to municipalities where there are basic tools of trade provided by the municipalities. So there is in fact a facility available to assist in cleaning up the towns, but it does in fact remain a problem, and it is important that we look at the local municipalities to provide those solutions in the first instance, but there is support. Thank you.
Thank you. On the virtual platform, I have firstly the Minister of Tourism.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Chairperson, as South Africa, we regret the attack on any of our tourists, both local and international. And we are doing everything in our power to work with the South African police services and with the private sector to deal with the question of safety. We have established a safety forum inclusive of South African Police, the Tourism Business Council, the National Prosecuting Authority, and we are meeting on a quarterly basis whereby we assess the situation, and we have identified at least 60 hotspots across the country where we have deployed over 2,350 tourism monitors, and we will continue with that program. They're being deployed to our national parks, to the airports company, to Table Mountain, to all our very famous tourism hotspots. And we are working together with communities from where we recruit unemployed people and train them to be safety monitors. Inclusive of all the 9 MECs in all 9 provinces and local government, we continue to meet and in partnership with the private sector, try and put in better measures that can protect both our local and international tourism, tourists coming to our country. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. We go back to the floor. The Honourable Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and greetings to all honourable members. I noted the statement that was made by the honourable member in relation to commending clean audit as released by Auditor General. Indeed, good work must be commended, but I do want to emphasize that the 7th administration is committed to turn around.
Honourable Minister, just take your seat for one moment. I have a hand here in front. Honourable Manye, why are you rising?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, with your indulgence, still have some new members here, and there was a delayed point of order that needed to be raised on some casting of aspersions. That, with your indulgence, would request that you raise that.
No, Honourable Manye, unfortunately, we're not able to entertain that in terms of the rules at this point. Honourable Minister, my apologies for interrupting you. Please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Chair. The 7th administration is committed to turn things around to all 257 municipalities. The key areas that we'll be concentrating on is the question of the funding model, that will be given as a priority to some of our municipalities who are having challenges to unlock them so that they can perform to the level of the best performing municipalities in our country. We will also provide human personnel to all municipalities that are not doing well in the current period so that we are able to provide special skills. A call for action made by the AG is going to be heeded to. Accountability and consequence management is going to be introduced to all those municipalities after every support has been given, still fail to deliver services. Lastly, all departments who owe municipalities, it is time to pay the municipalities because you can't expect municipalities to perform, yet you don't pay what you owe as the department. All the government departments, they will have to honor what is due to municipalities so that they become functional. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Minister. On the virtual platform, we have the presence and the benefit of the Minister of Transport.
Thank you very much, Honourable House Chair. Honourable House Chair, I want to thank the Honourable Member for drawing the attention of the House to the sentencing by the Specialized Commercial Crimes Court of Mr. Daniel Mthimkhulu, a former employee of PRASA. Indeed, the passenger rail service and the Department of Transport are pleased that while the wheels of justice have turned slowly, we are pleased that Mr. Mthimkhulu has been convicted and received a very stiff sentence. We believe that this should act as a deterrent to those who would want to participate in crime or corruption in the passenger rail agency. I think it's important to take this opportunity, Honourable House Chair, to assure honourable members and the South African public that the Department of Transport and PRASA will do everything they can to move away from the disastrous period of state capture and build a safe, reliable and affordable passenger rail service for South Africa's people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Also on the virtual platform, the Minister of Human Settlements.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson. Just to indicate from Human Settlements, we would like to echo the sentiments around the China trip and the achievements. We're one of the departments that has signed an MOU with the People's Republic of China, which is in the field of human settlements and is looking at broader issues of ensuring that we could collaborate between ourselves and China, the Republic of China. But also more importantly about the state visit is the achievements of the bilateral relations being upgraded to a higher level, but more importantly as well, to be able to learn from each other, but be able to advance in terms of alternative building technology as the human settlements, which were part of the signing agreements in terms of the work. The second area, House Chair, that I want to speak to is the work and the achievement of a PhD or the awarding of the PhD of Comrade Chris Hani by the University of Western Cape. I think this is a milestone the African National Congress does support and advance, but more importantly, to see one of the sons of the soil being represented or being acknowledged in this manner, in recognition of his contribution to the country, and also the lessons that we continue to draw from as a country and the people, especially a younger generation, where we have lessons that we can learn out of his work. It is applauded, and we hope that more institutions of higher learning will continue to recognize freedom fighters for their role that they have played in the country, but as well in terms of the democracy that we have attained. Thank you very much, House Chairperson.
Thank you. In the chamber, I recognize the Honourable the Minister of Public Works.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson. And I just want to take a moment to reflect on the Honourable Member from the DA's work, or the reflection on the Zondo Commission. And indeed, there's a lot of prosecutions that still need to come out of that Zondo Commission. And just as we in the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure are dealing with extortionists in the construction field, we also have political extortionists that have found their way into this chamber that were named in the Zondo Commission. And I think that it is imperative that Parliament reflects on how it is possible that people that captured and gutted the state are able to sit in a chamber as hollowed and as dignified as this, and then dictate laws to the people of the Republic of South Africa. And so if we want to give expression to the Zondo Commission, I think it's important that we also reflect on how those extortionists have ended up in this chamber and what we should be doing about it. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Member, why are you rising?
Chair, can I rise on a point of order?
Yes, what is your point of order?
But can I raise on a point of order, Chair?
Yes.
I think that the Honorable Minister is casting aspersions on
order
members. Chair, casting aspersions on members who will be making legislation. And I think that we have taken an oath, all as members here, and also for misleading the House, Chair. Can I make the point? The Justice Zondo's report makes recommendations for various entities, law enforcement entities, to investigate.
Honorable Member.
To investigate. He's never made.
Thank you, Honorable
judgment.
Member.
He's never made.
Honorable Member, please take your seat now. Thank you. Order. Honorable Member, honorable members. A point of order is supposed to point exactly to a breach of rules. You have alleged that the member has cast, the minister has cast aspersions on members who's supposed to make laws, but he has not identified a member. Thank you. Please hold your seat. Please hold your seat for now.
Chair,
Honorable
Chair,
Member, please hold your seat.
Chair, you must listen and follow the rules.
Please hold your seat for now.
You must follow the rules.
Honorable Member, I'm on the floor.
But you must listen
Take
to me
your
as well.
seat. Honorable Member, take your seat.
Chair, you've got a duty to listen to me.
Honorable,
in terms of
no,
the rules.
Honorable Member, in fact,
of the rules.
Honorable Member,
No, I don't say.
please take your seat.
Chair, I won't take my seat. I won't
Honorable
take my
Member, I direct you in terms of the rules to take your seat. You are not to disregard the authority of the chair.
Only if it is in line with the rules.
Honorable Member,
Only if it is
I will
in line
give
with the
you
rules. Chair.
another opportunity to take your seat. Thank you. So a point of order must be raised and point to a specific breach of the rules. I've already ruled that I don't see a member implicated. Secondly, a point of order is not to be used to engage or debate, and you have then ventured into an argument about the merits and the demerits of the Zondo Commission and the legal standing of it. That cannot be entertained as part of a point of order. So unfortunately, your point of order is not sustained. Honorable Member, before I recognize you, I've now made my ruling. In terms of the rules, the ruling is final, and a point of order is not to be raised on the ruling. So if you want to raise something new, a new possible breach or alleged breach of the rules, you're welcome to do so. Okay, you stand down. Thank you. The last opportunity, Honorable Souls, do you have a point of order? My apologies.
I am not Souls.
Yes.
Chair, we might look alike. I'm not Souls. Chair, may I raise a point of clarity as I'm brand new here and I'm just a little bit confused?
Unfortunately, there's no point of
Chair,
clarity.
it's going to help. It's
Honourable
going to
Member.
help all of the new MPs. It's a very short question, Chair.
No, Honourable Member, unfortunately, this is not a training session.
Chair, I understand. Chair, Chairperson.
Please stand down unless you have a point of order.
Chairperson. Chairperson.
Thank you, honorable
with
member, please
respect,
stand down.
Chairperson, with respect, I do get the satire, but it'll save us a lot of time going forward. That is a training session in itself for you. May I pose a very simple question that will open this floor?
Honorable
and take us
member,
forward quickly?
unless you are rising in terms of the rules, I unfortunately have no authority to recognize you.
Fine, Chairperson, I get you.
Thank you. Honorable Mente.
Your Chair, an order on you. When you're correcting members, you can't say this is not a training session. That's extremely undermining and patronizing.
Thank you.
You are wrong.
Thank you. I take your point.
That's not correct.
Thank
You
you.
must apologize.
Yeah.
You must apologize.
This is not
You
a-
can't treat us like that.
Okay, thank you. This is not a training session, but
can't
I,
say that.
but I
Don't
apologize.
arrest
I
me.
feel
Apologize.
What's your apology? I'm gonna get you.
You can't do that.
Not hear your apology, Chair.
Thank
You can't dismiss us like that.
Thank you.
We did not hear your apology.
But we are members of this house.
Thank you.
Chair,
He indicated that I agree with you. I could have treated it more sensitively. Can you now please stand down?
No.
we did not hear your apology, Chair.
Honorable member, please. I've recognized this
Thank
member.
you very much.
Point of order, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Point of order.
I've recognized this member. Please hold your.
I raised it before you recognized it.
No,
No, it's
thank
not
you.
Not true. Thank you very much, Chairperson. I rise on Rule 69C. That the member Montana, you ruled that he must sit down, and he deliberately said, I am not going to sit down. Can you please rule on that?
Yeah.
Because it's a disorderly conduct.
Yeah, thank you, honorable member. Ultimately, me and the honorable Montana found one another. I'm satisfied that after some engagement, he did comply with the rules, so your order is not sustained. Honorable Ngubane, there was a hand here from the MK. No, not yours, Honorable Manye.
Point of order. The point of order, Chair, was based on Rule 82. That refers to reference to member in respectful terms. It says in the House. And in many
Honorable
cases,
member.
members must refer to one another in respectful terms. That's all we're asking for. Can you also just ensure that you refer to us in respectful terms?
Yes.
That's all we're asking for.
Thank you. Will do. The last ministerial response is that of the Minister of Trade and Industry.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair. Firstly, let me welcome the words of support to both the state visit as well as the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, FOCAC, from Member Muela. At present, House Chair, China is South Africa's largest trading partner globally and a key investor in the country, with investments in sectors such as the automotive sector.
Honorable Minister, my apologies for interrupting you. I have a hand there of the Honorable Trollip.
House Chair, I also apologize for interrupting you and the Minister, but we can't see him. Can he just tilt his screen a little bit so we can see him?
Thank you. Honorable Minister, there's a request that you just tilt your screen to become visible in the chamber and obviously as part of the broadcast as well.
Okay, I hope that's better. I've tilted the screen. I was saying that at present, China is South Africa's largest trading partner globally and a key investor in our country, with investments in sectors such as automotive, renewable energy, and ICT. In 2019, South Africa and China's bilateral trade increased by 33%. From 26 billion rand, or rather dollars, to $34 billion in 2023. However, in this relationship, South Africa experiences a trade deficit of $9.5 billion, according to the latest statistics. Therefore, it was important that as the President led us in the state visit, we focus on reconfiguring the trade relations with more value-added products from South Africa. Some of the key outcomes of the state visit for South Africa included, firstly, an agreement on changing the structure of trade into more value-added products, And secondly, South Africa secured cooperation from China in 3 value chains relating to decarbonization, digitalization, and transport and logistics. Thirdly, key Chinese investors in both Shenzhen and Beijing expressed interest to either expand their investment or for greenfield investment into South Africa. And fourthly, through the FOCAC, there was a commitment to encourage Chinese companies to invest in the African continent and localize their value chains. South African firms participated in the business forum, where further 6 MOUs were signed between Chinese entities and South African companies and our DFIs. And this is to strengthen cooperation to promote industrial development, promote technology cooperation, to advance decarbonization, and to promote investments in renewable energy. We are therefore confident that these efforts will benefit our country and her people as we continue our journey of industrialization and reindustrialization. And we should continue the processes of now focusing on implementation of the MOUs as signed and agreed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable members. That concludes ministerial responses. The secretary will read the first and second orders together.
Consideration of draft notice and schedule determining the rate with effect from 1 April 2023, which allowances and benefits are payable to members of Commission for Gender Equality annually. Consideration of draft notice and schedule determining the rate with effect from 1 April 2024, at which salaries, allowances and benefits are payable to members of Commission for Gender Equality annually.
Thank you. I will now recognize the chairperson of the committee, the Honorable Dunjwa, to introduce the report.
Good afternoon, Honorable House Chair, Ministers, Deputy Ministers, and honorable members of this august House. The Portfolio Committee of Women, Youth, Persons with Disability, having considered the draft notice of the President's determination of salaries and allowance of members of various institutions, including the Commission for Gender Equality. A letter dated the 28th May 2024 was received from the President of the Republic, His Excellency Honorable Cyril Ramaphosa, requesting the National Assembly to consider the draft notice of the determination of the salaries and allowances of members of the various institutions, including the Commission of Gender Equality, in terms of determination of remuneration of office bearers of the Independent Constitutional Institution Laws Amendment Act 2014, Act number 22 of 2014, and 2023, 2024, and 2024, 2025, usually required by the end of the financial year. On the 9th of July, 2024, the matter was referred to the committee for consideration. Section 2195 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, 1996, provides that national legislation must establish framework for the determination of salaries, allowance, and benefits of judges, public protectors, auditor general, and members of the commission provided for in the Constitution, including Commission of Gender Equality, referred to in Section 192 of the Constitution. The determination of the remuneration of office bearers of the Independent Constitutional Institution Laws Amendment Act 2024, number 22, which came into operation on the 1st of April 2019, creates the necessary framework to determine the salaries of office bearers of Chapter 9 institutions mentioned in the Constitution. Section 8(1) of the Commission of Gender Equality, Act 39 of 1996, provides that full-time and part-time members of the Commission of Gender Equality are entitled to the annual salary and such allowances or benefits as determined by the President from time to time by notice in the Gazette and approved by the National Assembly. The President received the annual salary recommendation for the public office bearers of the Independent Constitutional Institutions from the Independent Commission, for the remuneration of the public office bearers. The Commission, having considered, among others, the State's Wages Bill and the impact of the public office bearer's salary increment on the fiscus of the country recommended a 2% salary increment for all public office bearers for the financial year 2023-2024 and 2.5% salary increment for the financial year 2024-2025. The President reports that he has taken into consideration the economic challenges of the country is experiencing, as well as the current fiscal constraints, and intended to make determination on the matter with the effect from the dates as specified in the table below as follows. The remuneration levels with effect from the 1st of April 2023 and 1st of April 2024 of members of the Commission of Gender Equality. Position of Chairperson, the remuneration for the 1st of April 2023, 1,258,326. And 1st of April 2024, 1,287,735. Deputy Chair, 1,007,420 for 1st of April 2023, and 1,001,306,000 for 1st of April 2024. Commissioners, 1,735,000 for 1st of April 2023, and 1st of April 2024, 1,025,758. Part-time members, sitting allowance for part-time members per day. Part-time members, 3.971. And remuneration for the 1st of April 2024, 4,700. The Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and People with Disability considered, support and approve the intended determination by the President of the Republic in relation to the members of the Commission of Gender Equality. As such, the committee recommends to this Honorable House to approve the determination.
Thank you,
Of
Honourable
the-
Member. Your time has now expired.
Siyanicela njengoba nani benifumene imali. Inkosi.
Thank you. Honourable members, I will now recognize political parties wishing to make a declaration. The usual times and order for declaration of votes will apply. The DA.
Thank you, Honourable House Chair, honourable members. At the heart of our consideration for the compensation package for members of the Commission of Gender Equality is a serious commitment to supporting the vital work of promoting gender equality for all genders and sexual expressions. As Parliament is responsible for selecting commissioners, it is also our duty to hold them accountable for executing their duties. Therefore, the Commission for Gender Equality must clearly articulate the role of commissioners in achieving its strategic objectives over the next 5 years in their strategic plan. We need more detail on what each commissioner will do to implement these objectives. The appointment of the vacant commissioners also must be finalized as a matter of urgency. We must consider the current economic conditions reflecting costs of living increases and inflation. The compensation package should be comparable to similar institutions to maintain fairness and attract quality candidates. Honourable House Chair, I propose further that we consider performance-based incentives to motivate members to achieve specific gender equality targets and outcomes. And let us engage with stakeholders, including gender equality advocates and experts, to ensure the compensation package aligns with industry standards and best practices. The compensation package must obviously be fiscally responsible, aligning with the Commission's budget and avoiding unnecessary financial burdens. Regular review and revision are crucial to reflect changing circumstances, economic conditions, and performance outcomes. Honorable members, these inputs made here today aim to provide constructive feedback, suggestions, and consideration for determining the compensation package for members of the Commission for Gender Equality. Let us prioritize gender equality and support the report. I thank you.
Thank you. The MK.
Thank you, Chairperson. As the MK Party, ukhambisana nombiko wekomiti lokunyusa imiholo ye-Commission ye-Gender Equality ngo-2.5%, kuhambisana nokukhulu ukukhathazeka ngenxa yokuthi izinhlelo kanye nemikhankaso ye-CGE yokufundisa nokuqwashisa abantu bakithi nge-gender-based violence ayifinyelele emphakathini yethu esemaphandleni, ikakhulukazi nalabo abasebenza emaplazini. So usuku nosuku i-GBV iyadlanga ey'ndaweni zakithi ngoba abantu bakithi abafundisekile. Ngakho leli gebe elivulekile lisho imiphakathi eminingi iseledengane, inganakiwe futhi izizwe isebungozini. Kanti nezinhlelo zokufundisa ngokulingana ngobulili emphakathini yethu ayifinyelelile. Moreover, the current monitoring and evaluation mechanisms of the CGE lack the robustness required to measure the true impact of its programs, particularly concerning the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. Without sufficient data, it becomes challenging to track progress and hold stakeholders accountable. This is a critical area that the MK Party reminds the nation that needs urgent attention if we are to make meaningful strides towards gender equality. I thank you.
Thank you. The EFF.
Ngibonge Chair. Ngibingelele uCIC wami Julius Malema. Nawonke ama-commissars akhona nama-fighters ami engiwathandayo. Siwinile njalo mhlawumbe ngizwanga. Hayi thina-ke sivumelane thina nokuthi bakhushunele imiholo u-CGE. Lalelani-ke, inkinga eyenza singavumelani nabo. Awukwazi ukuthi umuntu othe nanku umsebenzi hambi yowenza ahluleke ukwenza, uzomkhuphulela kanjani lo muntu? Abantu basemakhaya bayahlupheka. Lento ekuthiwa u-CGE abayazi nokuthi into enjani. Isilwane esesithathwe phi sabhekaphi. Into eyivelela lana. Kuyimanje la kunama-case anzima kabi. Athinta i-rape, athinta ukuhlukunyezwa kwabantu besifazane emaplazini. Kodwa akaze even one day behambe sibabona baye emacourt beyobuza ukuthi lama-case azothethwa nini kuze abantu bakithi bakhululeke. Namhlanje bafuna imali bazoyithatha they must go to hell. Ngiyadrawa.
Amakaula, please take your seat for a moment.
Ngiyaxolisa. Hayi, ngiyaxolisa. Lalelani, into engiphatha kambi kabuhlungu ningahawula nje. Uyabona mangase nihambe niye phansi niyobheka usizi labantu bakithi abahlukumezeka ngayo. Olundi ngisaphinda ngisasho namanje. Kunentombazane enizozwa kuthiwa ibulewe. Siyayireza lento kuma-portfolio committee ngenxa i-youth leyo engikhuluma ngayo. Ihlukunyezwa yinduna nenkosi. Ngemasimi awelima kona obemisebenzi aninikeza ninikeza abangani benina njalo ntuli njalo njengoba ngikhuluma nawo. E-Eastern Cape ogogo babulawa daily. Siyayireza kwikomiti kuthiwa bayathakatha. U-CGE akazaye kubona. eLimpopo kunomlungu, ngilalelani-ke bafethu, kunomulungu othathe wabulala abantu besifazane, wabaqukula wawubafaka esibayeni sey'ngulube babanzi. Asikaze siwubone u-CGE uya lapha.
Yini thina ezothi abakhushulelwe kubona imali? Ungamkhuphula kanjani umuntu ohlala ekhaya e-office? And maningi amakhesi esinawo. Abantu bakithi kuyimanje amanzi abanawo. Amanzi athinta i-youth ngoba yeka esikoleni umuntu engagezanga engaphuzanga amanzi. Athinta umuntu wesifazane. Bayaresha bayokha amanzi ehosheni. Yini ezoyijabulela? I-CGE ayifuni ukusebenza. And ngenhlanhla ngisabulonga ngibuyele kula portfolio committee. uNkulunkulu sathi angiye kuyona. Ngeke mina ngibe yiphatho ukuthi kube khona imali abazonjani abazokhuphula
Honorable Kaula.
khuphulela umuntu ohlala.
Honorable Kaula.
Ngalo ndlela ngithi ngiyayichitha.
Honorable Kaula.
Tjata.
Your time has run out. Thank you, the IFP. Order, honorable members.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chairperson. Honorable House Chairperson, in September 2019, President Cyril Ramaphosa called a special joint sitting of this National Assembly. He said, and I've quote, "I called this special joint sitting of both houses of Parliament because there's a dark and heavy shadow across our land. The women and children of our country are under siege. There's a very violent and brutal war underway against the women of South Africa." The President further called on this Parliament and the Commission for Gender Equality to play its part in the fight against this pandemic. Fast forward 5 years later, and we have made little to no progress in the fight against gender-based violence. In fact, this week, gender-based violence is again in the news when we are confronted with the infuriating reality that a GBV survivor who faced severe abuse from her partner was sentenced to jail for 10 years. The Commission for Gender Equality has the powers to monitor, investigate, research, educate, lobby, and report on issues concerning gender equality. It is against this background that the CGE in 2022 initiated a process of visiting police stations and Tutuzela care centers conducting oversight. The oversight visits, led by its commissioners, were conducted under the theme, Call to Action, United to End Gender-Based Violence. Currently, it's become unclear which commissioners are tasked with which projects, in which provinces, leading which oversight and monitoring programs. In the past, commissioners prepared work reports, but these are not currently finding expression in the current APP. We are today asked to approve the annual salaries for the commissioners of the Commission for Gender Equality. We will do so, but on the basis of what we had raised as the IFP in the Portfolio Committee, that we need to return to the practice of commissioners providing us with regular reports on their activities. We cannot just sign a blank check with taxpayer monies when it's clear that we are far from beating this gender-based violence crisis, and we are far from achieving true.
Honourable Member, your time is now expired.
Thank you very much. We
Thank you.
support the reports.
The Patriotic Alliance.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson. We do not have a declaration and we support. Thank you.
Thank you. The FF Plus.
No declaration, House Chair.
Thank you. Action SA. The ACDP.
Thank you, House Chair. The ACDP supports the report. Thank you.
Thank you. UDM. Rise Mzansi.
Nakhensa mtshama isitulu hi ri Rise Mzansi ya seketela xiviko lexa committee. Khensa swinene.
Osa.
We support the reports from Boldwan South Africa.
Thank you. The ATM.
Thank you, Chair. We support.
Al-Jama.
No declaration, Chair. We support.
NCC.
We are in support.
Thank you. The PAC.
No declaration, we support.
The UAT.
No declaration.
Good. The ANC.
Thank you, House Chairperson. As the African National Congress, we stand to support the report of the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth, and Persons with Disability on the draft notice on the determination of remuneration of independent constitutional institution, focusing on the Council of Gender Equality. Remuneration is a critical aspect of human resource management for any institution. A weak remuneration system can lead to an institution such as Commission for Gender Equality struggling to attain and attract commissioners with extensive experience and skills. As a Chapter 9 institution, the mandate of the CGE is critical to contribute in strengthening, deepening constitutional democracy in South Africa through promotion, protection, development, and attainment of gender equality. Hence, we say this commission must be capacitated financially so that they can attend to all these cases that we're talking about. We are living in a post-COVID-19 period, which is one of the deepest economic contraction. We all know that the global economy is still recovering from the impact of the health pandemic. As a nation, the implementation of economic reconstruction and recovery plan has led to the regaining of performance of economy despite its low growth. The democratic government has recorded progress on the implementation of employment equity and has yielded positive outcomes for the gender struggling. As we today have women as judges constituting 45%, CEOs of public and private enterprises, chief financial officers, and owners of companies competing in the male-dominated sectors. Just to mention an example, between 2017 and 2022, a higher percentage of women were employed in the skilled and low-skilled occupation than men. Affirmative action has closed more than 70% of the overall gender gap. As an African National Congress, we believe that the CGE will contribute meaningfully in responding to the social challenges such as gender-based violence and femicide by responding to the 6 pillars of the National Strategic Plan of GBV+. We recognize that the increment recommended is 3% salary increment for all public office bearers for the financial year 2023 to 2024, and 2.5 salary increment for financial year 2024 to 2025. The increases are below the inflation rate and therefore serve as a mitigation of the cost living, recognizing the fiscal position of the country. Therefore, ANC supported this report. We believe that the CGE, when it's capacitated financially, they will be able to do their job because all the positions will be filled and they will have financial resources. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Members, are there any objections to the approval of the notice determining the remuneration of the commissioners of the Commission for Gender Equality with effect from 1st April 2023 as it appears on the order paper?
Thank you, House Chair. Please note the objection of the Economic Freedom Fighters.
Objection is noted. Are there any further objections? Honorable Members, Honorable Members, I've noted the objection. I now put the following to you. Are there any objections to the approval of the notice determining the remuneration of commissioners of the Commission for Gender Equality with effect from the 1st of April 2024 as it appears on the order paper? Are there any objections? There's an objection. Are there any further objections? With those objections, it is agreed to. The next item on the order paper is a decision of question on the draft resolution in the name of Mr. J S Malema. Honorable members, I wish to remind you that this draft resolution was debated in a virtual mini-plenary on Friday, the 6th of September 2024, but that the decision thereon can only be taken in the full plenary. I now put the motion. Yes, honorable member?
There's been a request for declarations,
No.
Chair. I thought you.
Before I get to that, honorable Dlozi, let me just hear what the honorable member has to say.
Thank you so much, Chair. I would like to move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, according to Rule 121, that the House, one, amends the motion in the name of Mr. J S Malema in the following way. A, replace in paragraph 9 the words establish an ad hoc committee in terms of Rule 235(1)A with and I quote, mandates the portfolio committee on police, and B, remove subparagraph 9E. Thanks, Chair.
Honorable members, there's a proposed amendment. Can I please see that? Order, honorable members, order. Can I see the amendment, please? Honorable members, in terms of the rules, I see the amendment as moved by the Democratic Alliance, and may I draw your attention to the rule, Rule 121, Sub-Rule 1, that a member may propose an amendment in writing to a draft resolution if the amendment does not extend the scope of the draft resolution. I've seen the signed copy, and the amendment that is proposed do not extend the scope of the original. In fact, it removes one or two specific words in terms of the resolution that is there. In terms of the rules, I will thus put the amendment first to the House, and I will allow declarations. Yes, honorable member.
Chairperson, may I respectfully disagree that the content and form in terms of the rules of the proposed changes the original motion fundamentally. If you've particularly taken into consideration that an ad hoc committee in terms of the rules deals with a specific issue. The rules are very clear that an ad hoc committee must be seized with a specific issue, and that's a direct quote. To then shift and say that the matter must be taken to the portfolio committee, it is already there. But the portfolio committee is not seized with a specific issue. It is seized with different entities, with different issues. The very wisdom of the existence of the regime of ad hoc committees is in instances where we elevate a matter that it has to be dealt with on its own merits as a specific issue. So the proposal cannot stand in the House. It is a fundamental amendment of the motion. It must be taken back to wherever it came from.
Well, members, in terms of the rules, there is an amendment that is being proposed. I want to allow political parties the opportunity to make declarations in terms of the amendment that is being proposed. And then thereafter, I will put the amendment to the House, and the House must decide whether they support the amendment or not. And after that, I will revert, based on the outcome of that, I will revert back to the original resolution as it has been tabled. I now invite political parties wishing to make a declaration the opportunity to do so. The Democratic Alliance.
Thank you so much, Chair. I think, Chair, it's very important for us to understand that we've got portfolio committees that are established in Parliament for the very same responsibility of playing oversight, particularly in issues that affect South Africans. This is a massive issue of extortion that is ravaging our communities, whether you're in rural, township, and urban areas in South Africa. And ultimately, many people have been killed because of this particular issue. Now, it's important for us that when we play an oversight responsibility in Parliament, we make sure that our portfolio committees are being effective. And an issue of extortion in itself, being debated or put on the full agenda of the police portfolio committee is where it should be. It shouldn't be that we establish an ad hoc committee for this particular issue. It is of a serious nature, and therefore that is why it needs to be prioritized. But the responsibility of the portfolio committee on police to take ownership and responsibility in driving this particular issue, holding those that need to be held accountable, and making a necessary intervention must not be taken away from that. So it's important for us, Chair, to consider that, and that is why we put the amendment that we remove, as proposed there, paragraph 9, and replace those words that we indicated that instead of an ad hoc committee, let it go to the portfolio committee on police, where they can play an oversight responsibility, and delete 9E there. Thank you so much, Chair.
There's a request, and I want the political parties to receive the proposed amendment so that when they make their declarations, they are informed by the amendment that has been put forward. The MK Party.
Thanks, Honorable Chair.
I recognize your chief whip.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, this amendment is rejected for a simple reason. This amendment defies the objective of what this resolution seeks to do. The resolution seeks to bring focus. That's what this resolution wants to do. The portfolio committee mandate is broad. It allows a whole manner of discussions. This amendment, what it does, in fact, it's actually quite a shame that such a serious thing that we are saying, or that the EFF is saying, must be focused on because it's ravaging the country. Now, to have any person saying they are a public representative that wants to dilute this thing into a myriad of other activities that are happening in these other portfolio committees is really quite absurd, Chairperson. And therefore, as the MK Party, we are standing with the resolution as it stands because we take the issue of extortions very seriously, and we think it must be a focus. We want a laser approach on this thing. We don't want some general dealer stuff here. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The EFF.
Thank you, Chairperson. The central logic of the whole motion is really to say there is a crisis of extortion in the country, and we have a duty to intervene as Parliament. And therefore, it will be irresponsible of anyone to say the matter must be referred to the committee when we know how busy that committee is. And we want a focused ad hoc committee that is going to deal with this matter. We said to the executive, when the minister was spoke on this matter, that it will not be business as usual. Now, the DA comes, the DA that governs a province where this problem of extortion is too high, comes and says, no, let's do business as usual. But and what is even worse, extortion the pensioner, the recipient that is social grant, the construction sites. It has become a pandemic, and therefore Parliament cannot want to continue as if things are normal. We are pleading with all political parties to put their colors aside. What is even worse with this extortion? But when you have a funeral, they say, no, for sure the policy has paid. Therefore, you must pay a certain percentage to those people who are extorting our people in the townships. We reject the DA and we reject this amendment of the DA. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The IFP.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, the IFP feel that the prevalent challenges fall within the scope of the Capable Portfolio Committee of Police, and therefore we do not support the motion as proposed by the recent speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Patriotic Alliance.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson. I think as we have discussed this matter on Friday in the mini-plenary, that we do have confidence in the Portfolio Committee. Given that the situation is being prioritized, the chairperson of the committee has also highlighted key issues that have been not looked at. So if we can allow them the time to do the work that is necessary, then we shall support that the amendment that the DA put forth will stand, and we will support that it remains in the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Freedom Front Plus.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. I'm not sure that we should now entertain the substance of what is on the table. I think we should rather sustain the technical process in terms of the rules. The idea of the resolution was to create an ad hoc committee. And you're right when you say the amendment does not extend the scope. But the problem is that the amendment changes the total purpose of the original resolution. We can argue about the contents of the resolution, and if people feel that it should rather be in the Portfolio Committee for Police, that may be so. But then the right process would be to vote against the resolution, not allow it to go through, and then it can be taken to the Portfolio Committee. But with all due respect, to allow the amendment now changes the substance of the resolution, and I think that cannot be in order. Thank you.
The Action SA.
Thank you, House Chair. There are certain things that defy logic. From where we are sitting, we do not support the amendment to the resolution. We support the draft resolution as it stands. Thank you.
ACDP.
Thank you, House Chair. House Chair, we appreciate the motion from the Honourable Malema and that there is a crisis of extortion, but we would urge that the Portfolio Committee prioritizes this issue. So we would support the amendment. I thank you.
The UDM. Rise Mzansi.
Chairperson, thanks very much. So the Portfolio Committees comprises members of this House. All of us ought to be busy. In the Portfolio Committee, members, there's a member of the EFF, there are 2 members of MK, there are 4 members of the ANC, there's 1 member of RISE. What the ad hoc committee is proposed in its composition is the same the same numbers as they exist in the committee. So now, if the EFF says we do not have confidence in the member that serves in the committee to execute her job, then it must say so. Because all of us are members in that committee. The committee has just been
Point of
established.
order. Honourable Ghana, will you just take your
Thanks, House
seat,
Chair.
please? Take your seat, please. Why are you rising, Honourable Member?
Rising on a point of order to request that in terms of the rules, Chair, you rule Honorable Ghana to be irrelevant. We are
No,
debating
there's
the
no such rule.
technicality of whether the amendment suits the rules or not, not the composition of the second motion.
So thank you, Honourable Member. It's
It's
not a
out of
point
order, it's irrelevant. It's a point of relevance.
Not a point of order. Please continue, Honourable Member.
What is irrelevant is what has just been said. Because there are members in the committee that represent political parties. And what we are saying, so instead of saying we reject the motion, we say we want this matter to be in the Portfolio Committee because it's so serious. The Portfolio Committee has just been established. So we reject the original motion and we support this amendment. That's what we are saying, because there's a member of the EFF in that committee. Whatever issue that she needs to raise, she will raise it in that committee. That's why we reject the original motion and support the amendment. Thanks very much, Chair.
On a point of order, Chair.
Honourable
On a
Malema.
point of, yes. Will pardon the member who just spoke now because he just arrived, Chair. He will know that there is a difference between
Honourable
ad hoc
members, I can't
committee
hear the Honourable Malema.
and the standing committee. There is a difference. So even if we are all busy as members of parliament, when you are assigned to an ad hoc committee, you get released by your party from other responsibilities to focus on that. But we accept that he just paid his bus fare to
Thank
here.
you. Thank you, Honourable Member. Osa?
Thank you, Chair. The
issue on the table is about the amendments, and as Boldman is saying, we oppose the amendments. As set up.
ATM,
Thank you, Chair. Chair, the issue of extortion is not a new thing in our country. It is something that has been prevalent for the longest time. And the Committee on Police has been seized with it, but without any tangible results. So we as the ATM are saying that let us stick to the original motion so that we get a specific committee that will deal specifically with the issue. This is not about the numbers, but it is about the substance of the focus of the ad hoc committee. Thank you.
thank you. The Al Jamaa Party,
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, this is not an easy solution because we know that extortion and the situation is dire in our country at this stage. But currently we have got a portfolio committee on police with members of several political parties, which I would believe we would trust to do their oversight and their job. What we are asking now is, do we follow the amendment and let the portfolio committee on police take on this mandate, or do we go with the initial resolution? But we are already overstretched. It's easy to say, release members from the political party that they don't do certain work, as I heard the Honorable J S Malema indicate, but that is not always a possibility in your smaller parties. And that is our reality. At this point, I'm going to support that the portfolio committee of police continue to fulfill their role on oversight. I thank you.
thank you. The NCC,
Thank you, Chair. Chairperson, I serve on this committee, and extortion is rife where I live and where I work. We must accept this motion in the spirit that it is brought. It is brought, Chair, to bring a focus on extortion. That's all. We must be honest with ourselves and say that in the city of Cape Town, the DA has so much to hide that they would be against this motion, and today's arrest will prove it.
the PAC. Order, honorable members, order. The PAC, honorable members, honorable members. The UAT,
Thank you, Chairperson.
order, honorable members.
There's a battle here.
Honorable members, I want to listen to the member of the UAT. Please do not distract him. No.
Kadimambo Chair. I have to report that 4 police officials just been arrested in the last hour in Durban, involvement in extortion now. So this matter is urgent, and the public is looking at us in our reaction. So we support the original draft. Thank you.
Good. Is there a declaration from Good? The ANC?
Thank you, House Chair. As the ANC, we start by reiterating that a call for Parliament to investigate the crime of extortion can only be welcomed if we appreciate that the Portfolio Committee on Police is better placed to look into the matters of extortion and make a determination on what is the next course of action. The proposed amendment by the DA agrees with our position, and we would support it. House Chair, in our debate on the motion, we emphasize the efforts that government is taking to fight the crime of extortion and crime in general, such as strengthening the coordination of the work of the Justice, Crime Prevention and Security Cluster to fight crime. On the day of the debate, House Chair, the JCPS cluster of Cabinet was meeting to look into the matter of strengthening their coordination and collaboration. We also note that government has made interventions to strengthen the intelligence community to ensure our fight against crime is strengthened through intelligence-driven interventions. We also note the collaboration agreements that are undertaken by government through the police department to ensure the working relationship between the police and the Metro Police to fight crime. These initiatives are to be rolled out to provinces in our country. These measures, therefore, say to us, we will be inconsistent with the facts if we argue that the state is failing to deal with crime. The facts are pointing that the state is doing its effort to deal with crime. Therefore, House Chair, oversight by the PC on police will further strengthen these actions. I thank you.
Thank you, honorable member. Honorable members, Yes, Honorable Ndlozi.
House Chair, I ask you to rule in terms of Rule 121 subsection 2 in relation to this amendment. The rule says when amendment is moved as provided in sub-rule 1, a signed copy of the proposed amendment must be delivered to the secretary at the table without delay. I submit to the House Chair that this amendment was an ambush, not done in keeping with parliamentary decorum and specifically this particular rule. And it came at this hour to cause confusion in our country on a very important matter. It seeks to place a blanket and conceal a serious matter here, particularly in the Western Cape and Cape Town. You must rule it out of order, Chair, in terms of the rules. You are empowered as the chairperson to reject this amendment because it came without complying with 121 sub 2.
Thank
It was
you.
an ambush and it's not parliamentary.
Honorable members, I
But on a
indeed
point, on
received.
a point of order, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Malema, before you continue, I must indicate that I received the amendment when the member moved it. It was checked by the secretary or the secretary available in the House. And the amendment was then subsequently, not resolutions, there were declarations made by the different political parties on it. So the amendment to that motion is in front of us. Honorable Malema?
No, on a point of order, Chair. We were ambushed with the motion. We were given the motion while the person who's proposing the amendment to the motion was already speaking to the amendment of the motion. And the rule just simply says you can't, in its spirit, it says you cannot ambush people and expect us to make substantive inputs on something that is just presented before us here. But on a different point, Chair, the amendment seeks to change the whole resolution. What is the point of having a debate on something that we are saying ad hoc committee? And the simple way is to go to the motion and then defeat it, not to introduce something that fundamentally changes the possible resolution on the motion that is presented before the House. We must not allow that degeneration. We must be very clear that it cannot be correct to amend and change the possible resolution of a motion presented before the House. The ANC, we understand where they come from. There is a huge allegation in KZN that the ANC is a
Thank you,
beneficiary
Honorable
of
Malema.
extortion.
You have made your point. Honorable members, as a member of who attend the Chief Whips Forum regularly and other members, and maybe it's something that we need to emphasize as well between the different political parties, is that whether you agree or not on something, is that you use the mechanisms inside that forum to talk to one another and discuss things with one another. So you did speak to them, Honorable Ndlozi. You did speak to them. So there was a matter, some consultation or discussion taking place. Now you see, now that means that the amendment that's in front of us must now be decided upon. I wanted to say, before you, Honorable Mente, and those members who have been here from the 6th Parliament will agree that it's always collegial to inform one another that this is what is, but you said now you discussed it with them. So if you discussed it, that you will inform them. So whatever discussion took place there, whether you agreed with it or not, we expect as the presiding officers that collegiality is there, that you discuss things with one another, so that when it comes to the House, that everybody is on the same page. We don't want anybody to be ambushed. That is not the idea. But since you, Honorable Ndlozi, indicated that you did speak to them, then it means that there were discussions amongst you. Honorable Ndlozi?
No, House Chair, with respect, this is a classic case of sabotage, more than ambush. The honorable members of the DA never consulted anyone. They never consulted anyone. They brought this motion, read it, spoke to it, then you gave us the copies after. The motion that was consulted upon is the original motion, of which they had no view on. They never got back to us. So I'm saying to you, we even asked, do you want to make amendments? Because we were passionate about this matter being raised above political party colors. There was no consultation. It's a classic case of sabotage. And it must be rejected with respect, Honorable Chair. Please rule in the interest of the rules of the House, in the interest of the decorum. If you rule in favor of this motion, you are rendering Parliament useless. It's a circus. It means we can just come and play cards over serious matters of our people. We should have applied our minds
Thank you, Honorable
properly to
Clausen.
this motion.
Honorable
in terms of
members.
this amendment. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, I've consulted with the table staff here, and it is my inclination that I will allow the decision on the amendment to stand over, to allow for consultation, proper consultation between the political parties, and we will bring it back to the House tomorrow immediately after the question session. Thank you. Honorable members, we now come to motions without notice. Does any member of the ANC wish to give a motion without notice? The ANC?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The African National Congress.
Order, honorable members. Will those members who are leaving do so quietly, and the others who remain in the chamber, can you also just quiet down, please? Thank you. The ANC?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The ANC moves without notice that the House notes that Tourism Month is celebrated annually in September to promote domestic travel, showcase the country's diverse tourism offerings, and to highlight the sector's significant contribution to the African economy. Further notes that the theme for Tourism Month this year is Tourism and Peace, 30 years of connecting people to places and cultures. Believes that Tourism Month festivities are held throughout the country to highlight a plethora of tourism offerings in our 9 provinces. Understand that World Tourism Day is celebrated globally on the 27th of September as declared by UN Tourism, and the day affords the global tourism community an opportunity to reflect and commemorate its milestone in relation to the fulfillment of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Invites all South Africans to participate in the month-long celebration and to gain a better understanding of the affordable, exciting, and world-class attractions that are available on our doorstep. Thank you.
Honorable members, if there are no objections, I put the motion. No objections, agreed to. The Democratic Alliance.
Thank you, Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that this House notes with sadness the passing of Mr. Greg Crumbach, a member of the Democratic Alliance and its forerunner organizations for 47 years on the 3rd of September 2024. Remembers that Mr. Crumbach served as a member of Parliament for a full 5-year term, full 5 terms, and that he represented the Moyamgani constituency in KwaZulu-Natal. Acknowledges that Mr. Crumbach's brilliance and vast experience assisted the DA to expand its voter base during local and national elections, where he also played an instrumental role in winning the Mgani local municipality after an 18-year campaign. Recognizes the selfless and dedicated way in which Mr. Crumbach always prized the prosperity of the country above all, conveys its deepest condolences to his wife, Ms. Susan Cheek, his friends and colleagues in the DA during this sad time. May his soul rest in everlasting peace. I so move.
If there are no objections, I put the motion. No objections, agreed to. The MK Party.
Honorable Chair, I raise on behalf of MK on what's the problem? I rise on behalf of MK and the
Order,
people of
honorable
South
members.
Africa. A motion without notice that number one, the House notes with joy and admiration the 102nd birthday of Ugogo Mahene, a remarkable South African veteran of our liberation struggle. That the House celebrates her incredible longevity, which is a product of the progressive policies implemented under the visionary leadership of President Zuma. Those whose administration significantly increased life expectancy and focus on the health and well-being of all citizens. That the House recognizes Gogo Mahene as a dedicated struggle activist who, in her wisdom, left the ANC under Ramaphosa's leadership to join Umkhonto weSizwe, reaffirming her commitment to the true liberation. Furthermore, the House acknowledged her role as the mother of revolutionary singers, Blondie and Papa Mahene, whose music continued to inspire many in the ongoing fight for justice and equality. That the House commends Gogo Mahene for her unwavering dedication to the cause of freedom, her resilience, and
Honorable member, your
example
time is now
future
expired.
generations. So I move.
Thank you. I now put the motion. Are there any objections? Yes, honorable member.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. The ANC object.
The motion is not agreed to. The EFF.
Thank you, House Chairperson. I rise on behalf of the EFF for the House to note that private security guards employed by security companies and appointed as service providers by the state wear ballot gloves when on duty. Note that they wear the ballot gloves and proceed to commit serious criminal acts and are unknown to the communities and by victims. Further note, the practice of wearing ballot gloves is widespread across law enforcement agencies, including by the South African Police Services and parliamentary protection officers. Recognize that the security industry is becoming more powerful as there are more security guards, and with the freedom to commit such crimes undetected, they are turning into hired guns legitimized by a powerful industry. Further recognize that these security guards wearing ballot gloves have the potential to be used to harass, victimize, and kill citizens who seek to exercise their constitutional right to protest because they will not be identified and prosecuted and will never be prosecuted. Acknowledge that it was easy for the security guards to murder a citizen in broad daylight in front of witnesses because they were wearing ballot gloves. Call for the immediate end of ballot gloves use by security guards, police officers, parliamentary protection officers, and other law enforcement personnel in municipalities. I so move, Chair.
Honorable members. And I'll put the motion. Are there any objections? Yes, honorable member. Order.
Thanks, Chair. As the ANC object.
There's an objection. The motion is not agreed to. The ANC. ANC. Why do you want to rise, honorable member?
No, Chair, I just want to caution that we're coming from here. Maybe the member is new in the 7th Parliament. In the 5th and 6th Parliament, when they started this, they
No,
cried.
honorable member, that's
They
not
must
the
not
point of-
object to such
That's
serious
not a point
matters.
of order.
It's very important to pay attention.
Not a point of order. The ANC.
Thank you, House Chair.
Order, honorable members. There's a member in the chamber who's on the floor. I've recognized the member in the chamber. Please proceed, honorable member.
Thank you, House Chair. The
Chair,
ANC
I think you must just note what Honorable Mente said. Because
Honorable
we're going to
member,
start,
you are not-
rejecting
Honorable
funerals.
Malema, you are not
We're
recognized.
going to stand up here and say someone died and we
You
reject
are not
that.
recognized, honorable Malema. Please proceed, honorable member.
Chair, please
Yeah,
recognize
thank
Honorable
you,
Malema,
Chair.
his hand is up.
The
Whose hand
African
is up?
National Congress therefore
Malema's
moves
hand
without
was up.
notice
Please recognize it.
I recognized him now.
that
He
the
did
House
speak. Please proceed.
The African National Congress therefore moves without notice that the House note the following. Number one, beams with pride and the world records being broken by South Africa's
The
athletes.
EFF reject that
participating
motion
in
of
the
the ANC.
Paralympic Games.
Order, honorable members. Order, order.
Number two, acknowledge that the team South Africa has collected 5 medals at the Paralympic Games with Nompumelo Mhlongo and Simons Kruger raising to gold with Mhlongo in games with Mpumelelo on the men's 100-meter T44 and Kruger in the discussion challenge winning the record of 38.70 with her final throw. And bronze medal from Luzene Kutse, women's T11 with 150-meter Nikonals, Peter de Brutis means HI individual.
Order, honorable Ndlozi. Proceed, honorable member.
And the wheelchair tennis duo of Ronald Rampele and Lucas Sotole. And number 3, to congratulate Team South Africa on their amazing performances and wishes them well in their sporting careers. Thank you very much, House Chair.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? Yes, honorable member.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. I, Honorable Dr. Managa, I stand before this House. I'm saying to the ANC.
Honorable member, are you, no, you can't make a speech. You say you object or you agree. No, honorable member, you are not going to write your own rules in the House. You either say you object to the motion or not. That's
I'm
it.
saying to the member, bring the substantial motion. SEFF
Thank you.
object the motion.
Thank you very much. The IFP, the motion is not agreed to. The IFP.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. The Inkatha Freedom Party moves without notice that this House, one, congratulates Paralympic athlete Mpumelelo Mhlongo
Order, honorable
for
members.
winning South Africa's first gold medal at the Paralympics at Stade de France in Paris on 1st September 2024. Applauds Mhlongo for finishing first in the T44 100-meter in 11.12 seconds. Acknowledges that Mhlongo set a new world record in the men's T44 jump category. Further acknowledges that Mhlongo won a bronze medal in the men's 200-meter T64 final. And lastly, wishes Mhlongo continued success in his future sporting endeavors. I so move. Thank you.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections agreed to. The Patriotic Alliance.
House Chair, I hereby move on behalf of the PA without notice that the House notes that the Kraaifontein-born Cheslin Kobe launched the Cheslin Kobe Foundation on the 1st of July 2024. Further notes that the foundation was jointly established with his wife Leila Kobe. Acknowledges that 30-year-old Mr. Kobe is a South African professional rugby union player who currently plays for the South African national team. Recognizes that he was part of the team that won the Rugby World Cup in 2019 and 2023, was the best top 14 player in the World Cup, the Champions Cup with Toulouse, the Currie Cup with Western Province, the Challenge Cup with Toulon. Expresses its appreciation that the Cheslin Kobe Foundation focuses on sports resourcing and development, school visits and upliftment, gang violence awareness, combating gender-based violence, uplifting underprivileged communities, food security and water and sanitation improvements. Further appreciates that Mr. Kobe is giving back to communities by providing resources such as boots and rugby balls to young aspiring sports stars, and congratulates Mr. Kobe and wishes him and his wife Leila and everyone working at the Cheslin Kobe Foundation success as they continue to help local communities in South Africa. I so move.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections agreed to. The Freedom Front Plus.
Honorable Chairperson, I hereby move on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus that this House, one, supports the South African Revenue Service, SARS's decision to appoint a panel of specialist tax consulting firms to assist in tackling non-compliance and dealing with sophisticated tax structures. Two, take note that SARS announced a new tender on Monday, the 26th of August, for appointment of a panel of specialist tax consulting firms for 5 years. Three, appreciates that these appointments would enable SARS to catch tax evaders, tackle non-compliance, and acquire additional capacity to deal with highly complex and sophisticated tax structures. 4, also understand that this panel would be empowered to raise assessments, conduct audits, and even collect taxes due to SARS, thus fulfilling the Revenue Authority's mandate. And 5th, acknowledges that with this latest initiative of enlisting specialized tax consulting and compliance services from the private sector, SARS has made it clear its zero tolerance on taxpayer and trader non-compliance. I so move. Thank you.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections agreed to. Action SA.
House Chair, I, Lerato Mikate Kongobeni, on behalf of Action SA, move without notice that the House notes that South Africa faces a severe crisis of illegal immigration driven by a weak border controls and enforcement exacerbated by a rampant corruption within the Department of Home Affairs and the widespread abuse of our immigration laws. Acknowledges that this crisis demands urgent and decisive action to overhaul our immigration system and restore the integrity of our borders. Notes that on the 23rd of September 2024, concerned and patriotic South Africans will gather in Pretoria from 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock to petition the government to take immediate action against the failures of our current immigration regime. Recognizes that every effort must be made to protect our country from the clutches of criminal syndicates involved in human trafficking, drug smuggling, and illicit trading, which exploit the weaknesses of our immigration system. We so move. I thank you.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections agreed to. The ANC.
House Chair, we object before
Order, order, honorable members. Order. Please proceed, honorable member.
Thank you, House Chair. The African National Congress moves without notice that the House congratulate the Springbok on beating the All Blacks in thrilling rugby championship.
We object.
On Saturday,
Order, honorable members.
September
We object.
2024. That we remember that the Springbok won the match with 18-12 after trailing 9-3 at the break. Acknowledges that they have now beaten All Blacks 4 times in a row. That
Honorable Ndlozi, please. Even though you don't agree, please listen. No, don't take any explanation. I'm calling you to order now. Please continue, honorable member.
That for 4 times in a row, the first time they've done it since 1949, and the first time in 2009, that they've managed to get their hands on the Freedom Cup. Believes it was the game of 2 halves from the host, one that saw them slaughter, starter and fatter in the first, but from the back, and demonstrated the quality in death in the second, and congratulate the Springbok on fulfilling the championship test and increasing their lead on the top of the table. I thank you, House Chair.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? Honorable Mawatwe?
Yes, House Chair, we object. Can the
Thank you.
honourable member please bring
No,
the motion with videos
No,
to support this?
honorable
claim?
member,
Please.
honorable members and honorable chief whip. Order, honorable members, honorable chief whip of the largest party.
On that day is resolved.
May I request that
Saying the
tomorrow
final
morning when you convene,
Yes, so we say the first CCT
there's
resolved
another discussion on the
provincial
virtual platform. Whoever it is, that discussion must be terminated. May I request honorable chief whip of the largest party that tomorrow when you meet with these chief whips, that you please have a discussion around the matter of motions without order, motions without notice, because it's very difficult to continue in this manner. It really defeats the purpose. Order. Order. It defeats the purpose why we have motions without notice.
Is the ANC that started this
There's an
nonsense? And they
objection.
know we
Order,
stopped this
Honorable
thing
Malema.
in the 6th
Honorable
Parliament.
Malema.
We dealt with this thing. There's a
Just
new
switch
thing
off the
because
microphone of
ANC
the honorable member, please. Honorable Malema. The motion is not agreed to. The
I'll
ACDP.
chair. I'll chair on
Chair.
a point of order.
House Chair.
There's two members now of the EFF on the platform. Which
Give
one?
the chief whip,
wants to be
chair.
the chief whip? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Two
For
issues.
the EFF.
There are two issues. What you are saying, the chief whip of the majority must do tomorrow. It's a waste of time. The ANC started this nonsense. And secondly, you
No,
can't just
no,
easily
honorable
switch off
members.
members without even giving them an
Honorable
opportunity
members.
to explain
Honorable
what
members.
they are talking about.
Honorable members, order. Honorable members here in the chamber, I'm not going to allow a discussion now about something that must be discussed outside of this forum. In terms of the order, we are busy with order. In
But
terms
it's you,
of the order,
Chair.
we are dealing with motions without notice.
But House Chair, it's you.
It's not
brought
a
the
discussion about motions without notice.
But it's you who
So-
brought this matter. You could have allowed it
No,
to say
honorable
in the
members,
forum.
discuss it in the Chief Whip's forum tomorrow. The
Yeah,
ACDP.
but you must not start things and then you don't want to be discussed.
No,
It's you who brought it.
honorable
You've
member.
waited for the
Honorable
chief
member.
whip forum tomorrow.
Honorable member, I'm not going to allow discussions now because you are simply now delaying what we are busy with, and the item is motions without notice. Please
Then
discuss it.
stop giving
politically.
guidance on things that must happen to the whips
No,
meetings tomorrow. Focus on
Honorable
what you are
Dlamini,
working
you are
on.
now out of order. You are out of order.
No, but I'm cautioning you to say, let's
No,
focus on the
I
matter at
rule
hand.
you out of order.
On cautioning you not to do wrong
ACDP.
things.
Thank you, House Chair.
Must
House
focus, Chair.
I move.
May I recognize the honorable member here in front? Yes, honorable member, why do you want to rise?
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I just want to correct you. The ANC is not the majority here. There's no majority.
No, I didn't refer. No, no,
Chair. They are the biggest party, not the
no,
majority.
no, honorable member.
I'm the majority, Chair.
Don't, honorable member, don't shout at me.
Keep that the majority.
Honorable Chair. Honorable member. Honorable member.
Honorable Chair.
Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, please don't join in. I did not, Honorable Mawotwe, please don't shout at me. I addressed it to the chief whip of the largest party. That is what I did, not the majority party. The ACDP.
Thank you, House Chair. House Chair, I move without notice on behalf of the ACDP that the House congratulates Dr. Cleve Robertson, who retires as Chief Executive Officer.
Honorable members, Honorable Swart, Honorable Glossy, I now want to caution you. Please stop the discussions. If you want to have a discussion with any member of the ANC, go outside, and not in the recent past, but earlier, you can have tea outside and discuss it over tea. But I'm not going to recognize you. Take your discussions outside, please, not here. Now, I'm not recognizing you. Honorable Ngozi, I'm not recognizing you. Really.
Provoked by the minister.
No,
and
don't
you are
allow
calling
yourself,
order.
don't allow yourself to be provoked by the minister.
Cation.
No, please take your seat.
Executive.
Please take your seat now.
From the minister.
Take your seat. You,
Tiger is busy with me here.
honorable member, please take your seat. Honorable Swart.
I move without notice on behalf of the ACDP that the House congratulates Dr. Cleve Robertson, who retires as Chief Executive Officer of the National Sea Rescue Institute at the end of this month. Notes that Dr. Robertson leaves behind a rich legacy of growth and innovation, and that under his leadership, the NSRI expanded its volunteer base, increased the number of service locations, and achieved significant financial independence. Notes further that he was instrumental in strategic shifts towards preventative measures in water safety, potentially saving countless lives. Notes that his personal connection to and unwavering commitment to the NSRI dates back to his own rescue in 1986. Wishes Dr. Robertson well in his retirement and congratulates Mr. Mike Fonk, who will take over as CEO next month, trusting that he will take the NSRI, which has saved so many lives over so many years, to even greater heights. I so move.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections agreed to. The DA?
Oops.
The DA?
I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that this House notes with sadness the passing of Ms. Bonita Jacobs, a long-serving City of Cape Town councillor, at the age of 64 years old on 28 August 24. Remembers that Ms. Jacobs dedicated her career to providing an integral service to residents in various roles for more than 20 years, and that she served as the representative for Ward 30 at the time of her passing. Acknowledges that Ms. Jacobs was praised by residents for her apolitical service delivery. Recognizes the selflessness of volunteers and public servants like Ms. Jacobs, who put the welfare of the residents they serve above those of their political affiliations. Conveys its condolences to the residents of Greater Athlone and Manenberg, who have lost an excellent representative. Conveys its deepest condolences to the friends and family of Ms. Jacobs in their time of bereavement. May her soul rest in peace. I so move. Thank you.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections. Agreed to. The MK Party.
House Chairperson, I rise on behalf of the Umkhonto we Sizwe Party and the people of South Africa to move without notice that the House notes with grave concern the proposed 40% electricity tariff increase by Eskom, which will pose a significant economic burden on the working class and will drive millions into poverty. The DA-ANC coalition will penalize the poor for corporate interests. The House must call upon the government and reject any tariff hikes that disproportionately affect
Order, honorable members. Order.
vulnerable in honor of President Jacob Zuma's legacy, who fought for the poor.
I now put the motion.
so
Are there any objections? There's an objection. The EFF. Thanks, Chair. The ANC object. I've noted the objection already. The EFF.
I rise on behalf of the EFF for the House to note that following the murder of Uyinene Mrwetyana in August 2019, there were many commitments on funding for gender-based violence intervention. For the House to note that in the past 5 years, the government, civil society, and private sector committed funding to help fight the scourge of gender-based violence. For the House to acknowledge that today there is no consolidated overview for the funding that has been contributed to fight the scourge of gender-based violence. For the House to recognize that as the 7th Parliament, if we start our oversight without a proper understanding of the resources available, we'll not be able to conduct a proper oversight of the executive on the interventions necessary to fight the scourge of gender-based violence. For the House to resolve to write to the leader of government business to demand a comprehensive cabinet report of all budgets across all spheres of government spent on the gender-based violence in the past 5 years, including the 50 million that was committed by the president. I so move.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections. Agreed to. The UDM. Order. The UDM. The
Apologies,
ANC.
House Chair. Sorry, House Chair. I'm on the line. I'm on the platform. Sorry.
Please proceed.
The United Democratic Movement moves without notice that the House congratulates Bafana Bafana and Mamelodi Sundowns star Rowan Williams for making history by being nominated as one of the goalkeepers for the prestigious Yashin Trophy at the Ballon d'Or Awards. Further congratulates Williams as the first South African to earn this notable recognition and the only African player in the 10 nominees for the Goalkeeper of the Year award, named after the great Russian shotstopper, Lev Yashin. Acknowledges that Williams has been a top performer for both Sundowns and the national team in recent years, and his excellent performance especially has been evident in the continental tournament, the AFCON for Bafana Bafana. Further acknowledgement comes after hitting international headline news in February with his superb performance, helping Bafana with the bronze medal at the AFCON in Ivory, for which he was named the goalkeeper of the tournament. Wishes Williams all the best for his nomination and for his future career. Thank you so much. I so move.
Thank you. I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections agreed to. The ANC.
Thanks, House Chair. The ANC moves without notice that the House notes with deep sadness the passing on of the multiple award-winning praise poet and singer, Dr. Bishop Jessica Mbangeni, also known as Imbongi in isiXhosa. She passed on Saturday, the 31st of August, 2024, after a short illness. We acknowledge that she was renowned for her powerful poetic skills, which she showcased at prestigious ceremonies across the country, such as in the 46664 concerts of the late former President Nelson Mandela in Cape Town and former President Thabo Mbeki's inauguration in 1999. Understands that Mbangeni discovered her talent for praise poetry at the age of 22 and later joined the Soweto Gospel Choir in 2022, which allowed her to tour different parts of the world, including North America, Scotland, New Zealand, and Germany. Remembers her as a heroine and an ambassador of African culture and heritage. And we convey our deepest condolences to the family and colleagues of Dr. Mbangeni. Imbokodo, ilale ngxoxolo. Thank you.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections agreed to. Rise Mzansi.
Nakenza Mtwamasitolo, Bafana leading 2-1 in Juba. It's half time. I move without notice, Chairperson, that this House notes the passing of Tshwane Metro Police Department officer, Constable Rizin Nisi, who was killed while on duty when his TMPD motorcycle was struck by a vehicle on the 7th of September, 2024. Further notes that Constable Nisi leaves behind family and colleagues, recognizes that Constable Nisi has been celebrated as a professional and dedicated officer who is always willing to go above and beyond the call of duty, and resolves that this House conveys its condolences to the Constable Nisi family and the city of Tshwane.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections agreed to. Bossa.
I move without notice on behalf of Build One South Africa that the House notes with deep sadness the passing of Thabiso Sikwane, a celebrated radio presenter, a journalist, an activist who made significant contributions to South Africa's media landscape. That the House recognizes Thabiso's dedication to championing social justice causes and advocating for marginalized communities throughout her career, and acknowledges the impact of her work in promoting awareness on issues affecting South Africans and uplifting the voices of those who are often unheard. That the House conveys its heartfelt condolences to her family, to her friends, to her colleagues during this time of grief, and pays tribute to her enduring legacy in both the media industry and our broader society. Alale Ngokuthula, I so move.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections agreed to. ATM.
Thank you, Chair. I move without notice on behalf of the ATM that this House congratulates Babalwa Ntombam Mbuku, who is the founder of Ntombam Sanitary Towels, for a remarkable recognition in the DRAM Top 50 Women Power List for 2024. Acknowledges her significant achievement in being recognized amongst the most influential women, reflecting her dedication to improving access to essential sanitary products and her impactful contribution to women's health and empowerment. Further acknowledges the success of Ntombam Sanitary Towels in providing innovative solutions and addressing critical needs within the community, thereby enhancing the quality of life for many women. Expresses our profound pride and admiration for Babalwa Ntombambuku, Buku's accomplishments and her role in driving positive change through her entrepreneurial efforts. I so move. Thank you.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections, agreed to. The ANC,
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. The African National Congress moves without notice that the House acknowledges that Nzondelelo High School maths teacher Vuyoletu Kwekwe has done it again, claiming the coveted title of the Eastern Cape Province Best Mathematics Teacher at the provincial competition held at the East London International Convention Center last week. Further acknowledges that the maths and science teacher recently scooped the MEC's award for extra and co-curricular activities in 2023 after playing a pivotal role in uplifting the pupils and staff at the Zwido School. Remembers that Kwekwe started extra classes for pupils, managed to secure a full bursary last year for one of the pupils to attend Rhodes University and begged 100,000 for the school and 10,000 for himself after winning the Ukhozi FM school competition earlier in 2023. Understands that while he may be head of Department of Mathematics, he is better known for having a heart of gold, for always taking care of needy learners. And we congratulate Mr. Kwekwe on his award, and we thank him for his dedication and commitment and wishes him well when he competes in the upcoming National Teacher Awards for his Teacher Awards for Excellence. Thank you very much.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections, agreed to. Al-Jama,
Thank you, Chair. Al-Jama moves without notice that the House notes the death of Mr. James Matthews, who was one of South Africa's noteworthy anti-apartheid poets and a notable publisher who died on the 7th of September 2024 at the age of 95 at his home in Silvertown, Cape Town. Further notes that he was born in District 6, Cape Town, and that he attended the District 6-based Trafalgar High School. Acknowledges that he was an articulator of the Black consciousness philosophy, and during the apartheid era, his poetry was banned. Further acknowledges that he was detained by the apartheid government in 1976 and that he was denied a passport for 13 years. Recognizes that he was known as the rebel writer, whom during the liberation struggle was a voice of resistance. Further acknowledges that he worked as a co-editor along the martyred Imam Abdullah Harun, who died in 1969, at the fortnightly Muslim News since 1986, known as Muslim Views, as a sub-editor, that this House sends a message of condolences to the family. I so move.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections, agreed to. The DA,
I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that this House notes with great pride the remarkable achievement of Mr. Musa Mota, who stole the show as he performed during the opening ceremony of the 2024 Paralympic Games in Paris, France. Acknowledges that Mr. Mota's performance served as a massive inspiration for all persons with disabilities, particularly within the creative industry, to pursue their dreams. Recognizes that by virtue of such a performance taking place on an international stage, Mr. Mota's performance presents a true reflection of the indomitable South African spirit, and that this House conveys its congratulations to Mr. Mota on his achievements and wishes him well in his future endeavors. I so move.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections, agreed to. The NCC,
The NCC is covered for today, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
thank you. The ANC, the ANC,
Thank you very much, House Chair. The African National Congress moves without notice that the House firstly congratulates South Africa's teenage sprint sensation from Katlehong, Bayanda Walaza, on winning a golden double at the 2024 World Athletics U20 Championships in Lima, Peru on Friday, 30 August 2024. Secondly, notes that the 18-year-old Walaza, who is in grade 12, blew away his competitors in the 200-meter in the early hours of Saturday morning to win the time of 20:52. Thirdly, understands that 200-meter gold came a couple of days after he won the gold in the 100-meter. Fourthly, the House remembers that this comes after a month Walaza formed part of South Africa's medal winning 4-meter, 4 times 100 team, at the Paris Olympics in France. Fifthly, acknowledges that Walaza also became the first man since Christian Malcolm of Great Britain to win the 100-meter and 200-meter titles at the championships. And lastly, commends Bayanda Walaza for lifting the country's flag high. And this is a testament that when young South Africans, particularly from the townships and rural areas, are given an opportunity, they can compete and excel at the world stage. Thank you.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections, agreed to. The PAC, the UAT.
No motion from UAT.
Thank you. Good. The MK Party.
Honorable House Chair, I hereby move without notice on behalf of MK that this House notes with deep concern that on the morning of the 4th of September 2024, a black woman known to us was tragically mauled and dismembered to death by a pack of pit bulls while crossing an unfenced Boscher farmland in the Vasantakral area, marking the 3rd such fatal incident this year caused by dogs owned by white farmers in this community. Further notes that despite the close proximity of the police station, it remains closed to the public. Acknowledges the alarming fact that these dangerous dogs continue to roam freely on the gateless and fenceless farm, which is totally open with children playing nearby, putting lives at risk, and calls upon the government and the Kraaifontein police station to urgently investigate these incidents, classifying them as farm murders and take appropriate action, and emphasizes the need for swift and decisive action to protect the public and prevent further loss of life. I so move.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? There's no objection. However, I'm aware that this motion was not circulated to parties. Can we ensure in future that we just circulate it before we put it? I listened to the motion. It's not of a controversial political nature, and that's why I'm allowing it. But please circulate in future. The Democratic Alliance.
I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that this House notes with sadness the recent fire in Jeppestown, Johannesburg on the 25th of August 2024, which claimed the lives of 4 residents and left others injured and displaced, remembers that this tragedy comes almost exactly a year after the infamous Usindiso building blaze that resulted in the death of 77 residents, including 12 children, acknowledges that these events expose the city of Johannesburg's lack of control over hijacked buildings in the inner city, recalls that the Commission of Inquiry laid the blame at the doors of the city and the associated Johannesburg Property Company, recognizes that hijacked buildings are not only a fire hazard, but also a risk for flooding, health issues, crime, gender-based violence, and sexual abuse, and ultimately violates the dignity of people, and that this matter should be resolved as soon as possible, and conveys its condolences to the victims and their families in this very difficult time. I so move.
I now put the motion. Are there any objection? No objections, agreed to. The ANC.
The African National Congress moves without notice that the House notes with shock and sadness the passing on of former ESCOM chairperson and MTN CEO Raymond Sifiso Dabengwa due to illness on Sunday, 1st September 2024. That the House acknowledges that Dabengwa was a titan in the telecommunications industry and an astute businessman, recognizes that his tenure as CEO of MTN from 2011 to 2015 was marked by visionary leadership, integrity, and dedication that drove significant advancements in the industry, remembers him as an advocate for education and a fervent believer in the power of technology to transform lives, and conveys its deepest condolences to the Dabengwa family and colleagues in the telecommunication industry. I so move.
I now put the motion. Are there any objections? No objections, agreed to. Honorable members, that concludes motions without notice. The last item on the order paper is notices of motion. Does any member of the ANC wish to give a notice of motion? The ANC.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the ANC that
In its next sitting, the House debates strengthening ongoing initiatives to improve reading and numeracy of learners in public schools.
The DA.
Thank you, House Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that at its next sitting, this House debates the urgent need for a whole of society response to the escalating crisis of teenage pregnancy within the Republic. I so move.
The MK Party.
Chair, I rise on behalf of the mighty MK Party to give notice that I'll move for the House to note that Transnet recently released its results for the last financial year, posting a record loss of 7.3 billion rands. And during the term of Mr. Gama, Transnet recorded a net profit of 4.7 billion rands in 2018. In its briefing to Scopa this morning, Transnet presented a very shocking picture that in 2018, the freight volume stood at 226.3 million tons. And today, it is at 151.7 tons, which is a 35% decline. The House should note with deep concern the financial and overall performance decline of one of South Africa's major state-owned enterprises at the heart of South Africa's economy.
Remember, your time is now expired. Thank you.
They are west. Thank you.
Thank you. You can submit the rest of the motion to the table. The EFF.
Thank you, House Chair. I rise on behalf of economic freedom fighters to move that in its next sitting, the House debates the lack of decent sports and recreational facilities in poorer communities and how a culture of sport and recreation could play a meaningful role in addressing societal ills. I so move.
The ANC.
Thank you, Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that in its next sitting, the House debate strengthening and promoting TVET and community colleges. Thank you.
Thank you. The IFP.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chairperson. I hereby give notice on behalf of the IFP that this House at its next sitting debate the damning public protector report, which pointed to the fact that both the Department of Police, Social Development and Justice are failing victims of gender-based violence. I so move.
The PA.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson. No notice from the PA. Thank you.
Thank you. The Freedom Front Plus.
Dankie, voorsitter. Ek stel voor namens die VF Plus dat die parlement met sy volgende sitting vordering met grondhervorming bespreek. Grond is nie net 'n ekonomiese hulpbron nie, soos uit die verband tussen grond en land blyk. 'n Volk sonder grond is inderdaad 'n volk sonder land. Dit gaan oor die ekonomie, maar dit gaan ook oor identiteit. Daarom is dit belangrik om te weet presies waar ons staan. Ek stel so voor.
Thank you. Action SA.
Thank you, Chair. Action SA has nothing to declare. Thanks.
The ANC.
Thank you, Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the ANC that in the next sitting, the House debates reviewing and expanding the basket of zero-rated food items. Thank you.
Thank you. The ACDP.
Thank you, House Chair. The ACDP will move at the next sitting of the House that the House debates the poor state of the Road Accident Fund and our hundreds of cases arising from claims against the fund are clogging the High Court roll in Gauteng.
DA.
Thank you, House Chairperson. I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that at its next sitting, this House debates the current financial sustainability crisis facing the Republic's various water boards. I so move.
The MK Party.
Honorable Speaker, I rise on behalf of the MK Party and the people of South Africa to present a notice of motion for the National Assembly to discuss the urgent need for a comprehensive strategy to combat escalating drug issue in the country, particularly as it affects the youth in both our townships and suburbs. Among the 9 provinces, and in the last 3 months, the highest drug use has been in the Western Cape at 7.1%, administered by the DA and killing our youth. Now, this discussion, Chairperson, should, amongst others, focus on the 6 key issues: the devastating impact of drug use on young people's lives, families, and communities, the increasing prevalence of drug-related crime and violence, the need for enhanced law enforcement efforts to target drug syndicates and traffickers, the importance of improving access to rehabilitation support services and effective youth, the development of preventative programs in schools, communities to address root causes of drug use and abuse, and the collaboration between government, civil society, local communities to create a holistic approach to eradicate drug abuse. Let's start with the Western Cape. I so move.
The EFF.
Chairperson, I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters that this parliament must note and discuss that the Charlotte Macheke treatment center is standing empty. Our country is sitting with a crisis of drug abuse, while drug abuse is a pandemic, and the treatment center is in high demand. The state-of-the-art treatment center is standing empty. Only staff and security is working there. No patients, no treatment is happening. The center doesn't have a doctor, so the intake is very slow because patients must have a letter to be treated there. This is unacceptable. I so move.
The UDM. The ANC.
Thank you very much, House Chair.
Order.
I hereby move on behalf of the ANC that in the next sitting, the House debates the question of how do we use industrial policy to re-industrialize our economy in order to create decent jobs in South Africa, and the role of the master plans in job creation. Thank you.
Rise Mzansi.
Okay, I move on behalf of Rise Mzansi that at its next sitting, this House debate the ongoing water crisis faced by South Africans and the need for a plan to ensure that all South Africans have access to quality water and sanitation services. I so move, and I can some so much too.
Thank you. Pausa.
Thank you, House Chair. I move on behalf of Build One South Africa that at its next sitting, the House debates the efficacy and accuracy of the current National Registry for sex offenders and its ability to, 1, prevent new and repeat sexual offenses, and to 2, protect vulnerable persons. I so move.
Thank you. ATM. ANC.
Thank you, House Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that in its next sitting, the House debates intensifying South Africa's diplomatic relations to enhance peace across the globe. I so move.
Al-Jama.
Thank you, Chair. I hereby move on behalf of Al Jama that the House at the next sitting discuss the unemployment of thousands of professional nurses, which negatively impacts on the healthcare and services in hospitals throughout South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. The DA.
Thank you, House Chairperson. I hereby move on behalf of the DA that at its next sitting, the House debates the collapse of the South African Post Office, which faces day 0 at the end of October 2024. I so move.
The NCC. The ANC.
Thank you, House Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the ANC that in the next sitting, the House debate assessing and reviewing administrative and regulated tariffs, including electricity pricing policy and water policy. I so move. Thank you.
The PAC. UAT.
Thank you, Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the UAT that at the next sitting, the House must debate the urgent need for more effective strategy to combat the growing of crisis of Nyaupe drug addiction, which is severely affecting our communities, particularly Black youth. I so move.
Thank you. Good. The MK Party.
The lack of access to affordable housing, especially the poor and working class citizens. Honorable Speaker, I rise on behalf of Mkhonto Isizwe Party and the people of South Africa to move with the notice of motion that the House notes with deep concern the growing unrest among South Africans due to the lack of access to affordable housing, particularly for the poor and working class citizens. Recognize the failure of the government of national unity to deliver on its promises of housing for all, leaving millions living in dire conditions. Acknowledges that current housing policies disproportionately benefit the wealthy and politically connected. Calls upon the Department of Human Settlements to urgently implement a more inclusive housing policy, prioritizing low-income families. I so move. Thank you.
Thank you. The DA?
Thank you, Honorable House Chairperson. I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that at its next sitting, this House debates the funding crisis created by national government's failure to transfer to provincial governments the full budget payments due to them. I so move.
The ANC?
Thanks, House Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the ANC that in its next sitting, the House debates increasing disaster response capacity and funding. I so move.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now request you to stand and wait for the chairperson and the mace to leave the chamber. That concludes notices of motions and the business for the day. The House is adjourned.